everybody, my name is Nazivela Kamganamaya, but welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Okay, first things first, anyone who follows me on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, will know that it has been quite an emotional week, okay? I've been dealing with a few things that kind of threw me off. I am still trying to deal with them and get back to my normal self. But I thought to myself, you know what, let me actually do this video as I am trying to deal with these things, with the hope that if anyone is going through something similar, emotionally, mentally, I'm hoping this may also just, get you to that spark again, hopefully. Okay, so let me start also by saying a lot of us deal with fear of so many different things. And our fear usually stems from what we have experienced before in our past, and we fear that, Lord, may it never happen again, because I almost died dealing with this type of situation, okay? Or we have seen someone going through something and we pray to God that we may never find ourselves in that situation. I'll make an example. During COVID, when COVID started, happening and affecting us in so many different ways, one of the things that I had to deal with is seeing so many people within my circle losing their parents and thinking to myself, I don't know how anyone can continue, living without, their parents, because I can't imagine my life without my mom. So I'll constantly worry, call 5 times a day, making sure that my mom is fine, because I was seeing so many people, losing their parents. We deal with fear in so many different ways. For me, personally, I tend to run away from anything or anyone that may remind me of a time in my life where I was not happy, I was depressed, I was just a mess. And anything that is going to remind me of that situation, I tend to just shut down and tend to just run away from that. I'll give you another example. So I can't swim, okay? This may not be a surprise, because apparently stats show that a lot of black people can't swim, okay? I'm afraid of swimming. So this is because a while back, while I was in high school, we were on a school camp, right? And this particular campsite was by the river. And in one of the breaks, a lot of our guys, decided they wanted to go for a swim in the lake. And I would have thought, number one, because I was the only black student in my class, that it would have been obvious that probably she can't swim, okay? Or because I didn't change into swimming gear, it would have given them kind of an idea that she doesn't want to swim, okay? So anyway, I decided, okay, let me just tag along, just watch everyone having a good time. I'll be by the sidelines. I don't need to go into the water, okay? Because my thing with particularly swimming, I don't mind getting in the water, but I must be able to feel my feet on the ground, okay? That's my comfort zone. When I start tiptoeing and when I start not feeling the ground, that's when it becomes a problem. My body starts stiffening and I can't feel anything else anymore. And then I need to get out. I feel like the world is coming to an end. I'm about to drown, okay? So anyway, guys being guys, they start now pushing each other into the river. And then I'm the only one that's outside. And then so one will get out, push the other one, and the other one, and all of that. So I decide, let me get into the game. And then once again, I'm not wearing any swimming gear. So I'm thinking to myself, that won't give them the impression that I want to get into the water. And then so I start now pushing some of the guys inside the water. So I didn't see this coming. I can't remember whether it was a guy that came behind me, or one of them, without seeing, came out of the water and then pushed me. Okay, there's a difference between guys in a swimming pool. I can probably, worst case scenario, I can manage myself in a swimming pool, although those deep ends are very problematic. But a whole lake is a totally different ball game, okay? So they pushed me inside the water and I could feel myself drowning, okay? Because obviously I can't swim. But thankfully enough, they saw that, this is a problem. She's not floating, I guess, or she's not swimming. She's actually drowning, and they took me out of the water. Ever since then, I have not ever attempted to do anything relating to, swimming in the lake, in deep end of the swimming pool, in the ocean, because I know that is not me. I stay on the shallow end, okay? But anyway, as I said earlier, I've been dealing with a few things. I've been triggered a lot lately. You remember a video that Sku and I did about, having children and our experience in raising Iminati and whether or not we are ready for our own children. I did not anticipate the outcome of that video or how it ended, and it really brought a lot of feelings, a lot of things that I had clearly not dealt with, and I've been feeling some kind of way ever since, okay? And as you could see, a lot of people noticed, a lot of people didn't, and really misinterpreted, my body language for something else. But I had completely shut down by the end of the video because I was not ready to open up in terms of how I was feeling in that point in time. Secondly, in April, we received news that my sister was murdered by her husband. My sister being my dad's daughter. I got the news from one of my sisters that so-and-so, was shot dead by the husband and he ran away. He's out on the loose. We don't know what to do, okay? At first I was like, okay, this is unfortunate, but then don't feel some kind of way because you do not have any grounds to feel emotional about what just happened because you were not close. And in any case, the relationship that you all have, to some degree, it's quite complicated. So yeah, it's quite a sad situation, but get over yourself. You don't need to take it to that extreme. I tried to block as many feelings as I could dealing with that situation. But I remember when Sku and I were traveling to Port Elizabeth for the funeral, and the anxiety that I felt on that trip, like I can't even explain. Right? And all that time, again, I kept on reminding myself, like, you don't have, the grounds to feel some kind of way. It is a sad situation, but get over it, and so forth and so forth. So we went to the funeral, and when I came back, it was when I started feeling some really kind of way about the fact that this person is gone. Just like that. And as I was trying to deal with that situation, in May, I realized that it had been a year since my dad's passing. Actually, today, it would have been his 71st birthday. And as I've shared with you guys before, I feel to some extent it's quite difficult to deal with his passing because I don't know to what degree can I feel sad about that situation given how complex our relationship was. There is so much that I can go on and on about, but I don't want to bore you. But as I was trying to deal with those situations, and then I get a phone call, last week that a part of our house had burned down, so they were busy cooking. I think they were frying potato chips, and then the electricity went out. It was load shedding, and then they forgot to turn off the stove. So one of the kids woke up around about 10 or 11 at night, and the kitchen was on fire. As I was starting to get into my feels, but I came back to my senses, I was like, lady, you don't have time to break down. You need to book a flight to Port Elizabeth. You need to call the insurance. You need to make sure that mom is okay, the rest of the family is okay. You need to assess how big the damage is. Make sure that everyone is still fine. I was acting like the superwoman that I sometimes portray myself to be like, and I didn't want to give myself any opportunity for me to break down because I didn't have time for that. Once again, as I always say, I avoid anything that is going to remind me of a period in my life where I was sad or depressed. I don't want that because I know what it was like. It took so much of me to get out of that situation. It took me so much of me to get out of that box that I don't want anything that is going to remind me of that. Now, I know that's not the most perfect way of dealing with things, but as I said, I'm more comfortable when it comes to the shallow side of the pool, not the deep end. I don't face a lot of my challenges because I'm afraid of what my own vulnerability will do to me. I'm afraid of falling. I am afraid of feeling like a failure. And I know a lot of you, to some degree, feel that way. Now, our circumstances, our troubles, our challenges may differ from one person to the next, but what is common is the point where we feel inadequate, we feel vulnerable, we feel like we're a failure, we feel that we haven't done enough in our life and all of those things. I wanted to share this video because as I'm dealing with a couple of things, I recently had what Oprah calls an aha moment. And it came through at the most random time, right? Uskomuza is teaching me how to cycle, okay? Uskomuza is teaching me how to ride a bike. Uskomuza is a triathlete, okay? He swims, he cycles, he runs, okay? And one of his, dreams is for us to compete together, doing like an Ironman, like not the serious one, then the more, fun one for beginners, but the one thing that I always say to him is like, I can't swim, and I don't think that's gonna happen, as I told you before. And the other thing is that I can't cycle. I cannot go on a bike. That is not me. I can't balance myself. And also, I'm afraid of falling, okay? I don't do well. I know I had tried once many years ago and I fell hard and I didn't want to do it again. So the chances of me being like a cyclist are really slim. But he was so excited. He bought a bike. He started buying me different gears. And I was like, okay, I don't want to disappoint him. Let me try this out. So the first thing he always says to me regarding a bike is, you need to relax your body. When your problem is that every time you get into a bike, your body stiffens. You're already mentally preparing yourself for a fall. And that's not the right way of learning how to cycle. The second thing that he told me was, whatever happens, in whatever direction that the bike is going to, make sure that you do not take your foot. Make sure that you do not take your feet off the pedals. Now, an amateur like me would understand that is very difficult because the minute you see danger is approaching, the common sense in you is going to tell you, take off those feet off the pedals and balance yourself, on the ground, so that the bicycle can stop. And you always tell me that is the most dangerous thing that I can ever do because in a situation where the bicycle goes fast, it's in a downward, area, the minute you take your feet off the pedals, you can literally hurt yourself. Not only can you fall, but you can literally break your legs. So we fight all the time because it continuously yells at me, do not take your foot off them pedals, okay? Rather navigate, the bike with your hands, with how you structure your body on the bike. But whatever you do, do not take your feet off the pedals. Recently, we've been having fun with the cycling gear, I think you can see that I am still having a tough time maintaining my feet on the pedal, particularly when I'm approaching danger, or I want to balance, the bicycle, or I want the bicycle to stop. So he bought me these cycling shoes, and he was busy showing me all different kinds of things, and what's going to help me making sure that I don't take my feet off the pedal. So these are his cycling shoes. Underneath the cycling shoes, interestingly, is what is called the cleats. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's spelled C-L-E-A-T-S. The cleats are attached to the sole of the cycling shoe and they basically clip onto the pedal of your bike. This allows your pedal stroke to be more faster and more efficient and more powerful. While you pedaling faster, it makes sure that your feet does not get off of the pedal. Even in an event where I fall with the bike, my feet will still be attached to the pedal because of that clip. So the clips do not guarantee that you won't fall, guys. You will fall, but it protects you from a far-off situation had you not clipped your feet on those pedals. By taking my feet off the pedals, I could break my legs. But with clips, I will fall, but my recovery will be as quick as literally getting up and getting on the bike and cycling again. So ultimately, the foundation of my faith is in making sure that my cleats and my shoes are clipped on those pedals. So let me bring this back to my aha moment. My fear of falling is in my lack of understanding whether I'll be able to walk again. I keep on trying to understand, to what extent will the damage be? Will my fall cripple me? Will I break my legs? To what extent will the damage be? And this is influenced because whenever there's imbalance in my life, whenever I have to face challenges, whenever I am uncomfortable, the first thing that comes through my mind is that I need to take off my feet from the pedals and go back to where I am comfortable at. I'm realizing that by taking my feet off those pedals, I am taking myself out of safety. The relationship between those clits under the shoes and that pedal symbolizes the relationship that I have with God. I unclip myself from those pedals. I unclip myself from God whenever I'm faced with challenges. Because I believe there's more power on the things that I see more than the power on the pedal. The last thing I want to share that Sku said to me was, if there comes a point where ibhayisekile iyakuwisa, iwa, do not hesitate. Sukhathisa. Iwa because you are protected. Fall because you are protected. Do not be scared to fall. So it's not that we won't fall. There will come a time where we'll all fall. Every cyclist will tell you about a time where they fell off their bike. But the risk of having to fall without God is what should scare you the most. The risk of having to fall without your clits clipped into those pedals is what should scare you the most, because you know that the damage will be far worse. So from here on, I do not want to fall with my feet not attached to those pedals. The foundation of my faith should still be attached to who God is despite of my fall. I want to fall graciously. I want to fall graciously knowing that God is my foundation and God has my back.